Chat, it's time for me to be a giga hater. It's time for me to hate like there's never been any hate before. We got a thread from Flork of Cows. Be careful listening to random advice accounts. Be careful listening to people who provide services. At the end of the day, their goal is to make you a client for a paycheck. Look closely if they apply those tips to themselves. This will give you growth, and observe if they apply these practices to themselves. If they did, then why not? If they boast about practices that boost your numbers and observe their clients, are they at a place where you want to be? Money is tight. If you're starting out, it's tighter. Take your time and carefully discern who you listen to. Take this advice for free. Your time in the field will be the most important contributor. Think of this like putting a penny in a jar. Every day you show up is a penny in the jar. Keep putting your pennies or time into your jar and content. And every week, if you improve 1% over time, you will be 100% more than where you started. Keep with it even when numbers are bad. Remember and keep in mind that some people grow fast and some people grow slow. Stay in it and stay with the game. You only lose when you stop. Just like the casino. No advice you get from X or YouTuber or consultant will top this. Just keep doing shit regardless, it will come. Now, obviously, this is a pretty good like mini thread outside of the fact where just keep doing shit regardless. Obviously, if it'll come. Obviously, if something's not working out, obviously you should be experimenting, of course. But this is a very good thread. And of course, like the narcissist I am, I replied to this thread. Here's an uncomfortable VTuber truth. VTuber managers, consultants, and everyone in between will tell you that they just want to see your growth or they want to see you disrupt the industry or some dumbass shit like that. Management, consulting, and advisory works exist to make money. Full stop. This job, my job to an extent, my goal is to make money. I could not care less in the grand scheme of capitalism if you succeed or not. All my position really cares about is making sure I have 1 billion clients and make sure that some of you guys make it big so that I can portray those success stories onto other people. Not me. I only do it to help people. Well, to be fair, if you're okay with losing $1 bajillion like Mr. Logs, then sure. That is also a thing. We use engagement posts and free advice to get our names in front of creators and funnel people interested into our networks. That is the nature of our business. Again, obviously, like I will not pretend that I do not have an ulterior motive when I message people. Sometimes I message people and like, hey, thank you for following this post. If you ever want to talk about content, here's my Discord. I will not pretend that an ulterior motive of me is to get them to not to play fucking Deadlock with me or like play TFT. Hey, Discord can get us ready to play Marauder Master Yi. But obviously, everyone who's involved should have the realistic expectation that, yeah, obviously we're gonna try to get something out of each other. That is just how relationships work, especially when you're in a content creator business. I'm going to try to get some amount of money from them, and they are going to try to get some service from me in order to become the next Mr. Beast. Now, the real distinction between genuinely helpful services and service solely out for your money is how honestly these services market themselves, what they actually want from you, and whether or not they can replicate their formulas for success consistently at scales. Like Flork said, why take advice from an advice account if they can't even apply it to themselves or their clients? Now, this is the #1 thing that I hate when it comes to when I see consulting accounts or people who are like, I'm a manager or whatever. If they are not public with their clients list, that's pretty shady. If they are saying do XYZ and they're not doing it themselves, that's pretty shady. If they're like, look at me charging an extremely high premium in order to give you who you need and get you what you want and whatever, and you look at their own stuff or the channels that they're working on and all those channels are still in the shitter, then that's pretty bad. That's pretty shady. If I'm following, you know, X VTuber person and they have like 20,000 Twitter followers and like 30,000 like YouTube, like 30,000 like Twitch, but their viewership numbers like Twitter, maybe they're only getting like 200 like likes on a post on average, or on YouTube they're maybe only averaging like 1.5 to like 3k views per video, or on Twitch maybe they're only averaging like 100 viewers. That's a pretty big red flag. Let me just fill that shit in. Yeah, 3 years of art school, baby. It's a pretty big red flag. If people are being very verbal or very open with the fact that like, yes, I am a content creator who also does this, or I work with a ton of clients, and then you just check people's stuff and the numbers just don't line up, that is cause for a red flag. That is cause for someone who may not be as good at their job as you thought. And maybe, just maybe, their advice is not that useful. I know a lot of people who've worked with people like that. I know a lot of people who are working with people like that. And it is a very frustrating scenario to be like, they are spending so much money per month on these creators, on these consultants, on these middle managers, just to get jack shit in return. When that money should be going to me! Because I like money. I can scam them instead. But it's more along the lines of, if you are going to decide to work with someone, no matter who they are, you should probably like do your own due diligence in regards to what they are capable of. It's kind of like hiring a lawyer, you know what I mean? The most important thing you can do for your content is figure out what works for your lifestyle, your budget, your schedule, and if someone tells you to disregard these factors and any other major priorities in your life and to just follow their growth advice, just run. When I work with clients, I'm upfront about what I can realistically offer them, what metrics are actually achievable, and what factors are simply outside of anyone's controls. Like, obviously, if someone's like, hey Stevie, help me make like Chinese manufacturing shorts, like I'll pay you like $500 a minute. I'm like, bro, I don't have that resource client. I don't have that resource pool. I don't know any Chinese editors. Or if someone's like, hey, Stevie, help me make like 500 YouTube shorts where they're all just super low quality. I would be like, that's a pretty shit idea, honestly. Like, you should probably spend that money on doing something better. Anyways, my goal when I try and work with clients is not to just like carjack them. I like calling it carjacking because it's basically what it is, where you just fucking rob them on the side of the road, you get a quick payday, and then you doze off. That is not a consistent source of revenue. You know what is a consistent source of revenue? Meeting people you like to work with, meeting people you like being friends with, so you're more invested in them and their content, and you're able to be more invested in their ability to succeed, and working together so that you can create sustainable content plans with each other, and not just, you know, someone gets robbed on the side of the road, missing a kidney, you know what I'm saying? Long-term success with people you're able to work with easily and have a vested mutual interest in, and are willing to listen to each other in regards to what each other needs. Those are the best sort of partnerships. I would much rather work with an editor who I know can make higher quality content and lose a percentage of my profits over, you know, just being like, but this 11% profit is like really nice compared to like the 5% profit if I went with someone else or some dumb shit like that. Like, literally, one of my editors was like, hey, like what you're offering me for like one of these clients is not really that good, just not really worth my time and effort. And I was like, you know what, fair, I'll give you what you ask for, because I value his ability to make money at a rate that he thinks is valuable, rather than, you know, me being like, wow, I can sure eke out an extra $100 per month from this guy. Like, I would rather in a million years charge a client that I know is going to be better for my business and is going to provide me a lot more in regards to like word of mouth marketing, or actually listening to me and like taking my advice so that they can grow and make like more profitable content, and charge them less for like certain things, than be like, no, you have to give me X amount of money or else I'm gonna fucking shit my pants and die. Anyways, should you hire a consultant if you have the resources, time, and trusted people who could vouch for them? Then yes, obviously. Like, fresh perspectives and talking to people and being able to be outside of your own little bubble, that's always going to be an amazing thing. And if you're still worried, most people will offer like trial periods. For instance, like if you don't want to hire me for an entire month, you can hire me for like a 1 or 2 or 3 hour like consultant call for like 150 or like $200. That's usually what I cost. Should you still do your own research and think critically? Yeah, of course, because all advice is autobiographical and should be treated accordingly. Again, just because your friend wins the lottery and he tells you to like liquidate all your assets and buy lottery tickets, does that mean you should do so? No. And be sure to work with others, learn from others, and be sure to understand the incentives behind everyone giving advice, including me. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that my advice is always 100% perfect. Sometimes I give advice that I'm like a little shaky on, and this is where I, you know, will usually point people into, like, let's say if people are asking me about how to promote song covers, I'm not the most accurate when it comes to that sort of thing. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, listen to this other advisor that I've hired. He has a lot more insight in regards to this one specific niche, such as with covers. Or look at like how other creators have formatted their guides, and we can sort of break it down together and see what works for them in regards to them promoting their own covers or musical works. Anyways, if you want to hire me as a consultant, I would gladly take anyone on. Just be aware of all these factors, be aware of what works for you, and of course, do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. That is the number one thing. Do your own research and make sure you're not getting scammed. Because if you are getting scammed by me or somewhere else, or you think you're just not getting the right value, then that is on you. Remember, kids, do your research. Let me know what your thoughts are on consultants overall, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye forever.